So the truth is that it doesn't matter what they say. You go ahead and repeat and approve what they say, and then tell them what's actually going on. And then you go, now, how about for our state? How about for Arizona? What are you
They
seeing?
were gonna clear that. Nope, that's us.
You know, what are you seeing for Colorado? And they go, well, Denver's good. Denver's been hit, but we haven't seen anything here in Durango. It doesn't really matter. And, you know, and whatever they say, and you go, yeah, you know, a lot of people are saying that. And what we're seeing is prices have declined by 13% in the last 90 days. So whatever you ask them what they're seeing, and you go, yeah, a lot of people are thinking that. And here's what we're seeing. Is this making sense? And now we say, now for our city, and by this point, you can pretty much tell them what's actually going on. So we want to start big, and we narrow it down to here. All right. Now we say, now I've sent over the comparables and I brought a copy of them. All right. And as you can see, there are currently 10 homes on the market. They're asking an average of, you know, $300 a square foot. And so you're really just saying what you presented earlier. And you can say, have you seen any of these homes? So this is where we want to see if it's a neighbor's home they've been into, or they don't know anything about the home yet. At this point, that's going to give you, we want to see if they've seen any of them. If you were uncomfortable with the comparables and you'd actually previewed the homes, you could say, yeah, I was in this home on Tuesday. And they've redone their 3 bathrooms and their kitchen in the last 12 months. So like, that's where this shows up. Okay. So you present the 3, and as you can see, there are 5 pendings, and they're asking an average of $250 a square foot. Have you seen any of these homes? You're not fighting with them here at all. You're just asking, you're presenting and asking, have you seen them? Now, in the last 30 days, there have been 3 sales, and they sold for an average of $210 a square foot. Have you seen any of these homes? Now, here's what you say after you've presented all of it. And this is no emotion. I'm going to say it like you're Switzerland, you're neutral. All right. You present all these numbers and you say, now, based upon your motivation and the time that you'd like to get your home sold, what price do you feel you should put on the home to bring the most buyers and get it sold? So I'll say it again. Based upon your motivation and how quickly you'd like to sell your home, what price do you feel? And I go like this, what price? And I keep looking at the comps. Okay. So I put the comps down in front of them and I'm going like this. What price do you feel you should place on your home to bring the most buyers and get it sold in the time you want? And then you be quiet. Now, here's where they may say, well, that home down the street sold and it's not on the list. And that's where you might say, yes, the comps 90 days ago are very different than today. So I only brought the last 30 days. And then you point to it and say, what price do you feel you should put on the home to bring the most buyers to look at it, get it sold in your time period? And what I do is I bring like a Walmart calculator, a big calculator, and I say, did you need my calculator? They take the calculator and they do this. They're like, and then say, well, what do you think? And we say, well, the market is showing a price of $210 per square foot would get it sold right now. What would you like to do? All right, so that's presenting the comps. What an insights or ahas are you having? You like it?
Yes. Can you repeat the last sentence? You said the market is showing a price of blank per square foot, would get it sold right now. And then what was this, the second question?
What would you like to do?
I mean, secret sauce. So
It doesn't have to be difficult.
so good.
So now let's talk about objections. So now objections come up. All right. Now let's think about it though. We've already handled the objection of what are you going to do to get my home sold? You've already shown them that. They've already seen your stats. They've already read through all of that. So it can't be about what you're going to do to get my home sold. What objections could you actually get at this moment? Because we do get a few. What do you think they are? All right, I'll help you out. The most common objection is, well, I'd like to try a higher price. That's the most common one. All right. So
Yes.
it either comes down to price or commission at this point. All right. So it's usually price or commission. So when we talk about price, we want to stay away from the words of I think, I believe, I recommend. That never comes out of our mouth. It's always the market recommends, the market is showing, the market is proving. It's never I or me, right? So the market is always doing all this. So they say, well, gosh, Denise, based upon that, we wanted 600,000 based upon what you're saying. I mean, it's more like 500,000. And they say based upon what you're saying. And you always move it back to, the market is showing a price of 500 would most likely get your home sold today. As you can see, there's a big difference between what's listed, what's pending, and what's sold. These numbers were different 90 days ago. Do you think the market's going up or do you think the market's going down? Well, I guess it's going down. So how much time now? Okay, now this is a big deal right here. We want to move from, quote, trying a higher price or overpricing it. And this is a belief Denise has versus there's a lot of scripts out there and objection handlers that, in my opinion, get a little aggressive. All right. Like it's beating the seller up. And I think when we beat the seller up and we get into, quote, objection handling, like you have to handle the seller, they feel it and they back off. So instead, what I'd like to do is really lock arms with the seller, and we're after this to help you get the best possible. So what you can say when they want to, quote, overprice it is you switch it from, so Stephanie, what I hear you saying is you'd like to test the market. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I can get X amount for my house.
Right, great. See, now testing it, I didn't beat you up. It's not overpricing, it's, quote, testing. And testing means you're not wrong and I'm not wrong. We're testing it. So Stephanie, we know that in any market, a home will sell in the first 7 to 10 days when it's well priced. So would you like to test the market for 7 days or 10 days?
7.
Okay, perfect. That's pretty cool, huh? Now they say, so let's talk about some other objects. So that's going to be about half the people. Half of them want to test it And half of them, and most of them in that conversation will just say 7 to 10 days. And you've now like, great. So after 7 days, we'll take a look. We'll see how buyers and agents responded to the price you set on the home, make an adjustment, and we'll know that we've tested it and we'll go forward.
What happens if you're showing days on market are getting longer? So it's regardless of where, I mean, if it's priced right, it's gone still within those 7 days. Never mind, answered my own question.
So what I might say though also is, before we test the market, now Stephanie, you said that you needed to be in Phoenix in 60 days. So we've got 30 days to get your home on the market and 30 days for escrow to close on your home for the closing. So as you can see, the market's not going up, it's going down. So we can't test it for 7 to 10 days. Then we truly, if that doesn't work, you could see where we need aggressive because we'll have like 3 weeks to get your home sold, right? So now you're going to simply talk about timing. Now because we're strategizing together. It's not me doing this. Now, I'm going to give you another way to handle. I'm giving you a couple different ways to handle price. So let's say that they truly want to overprice the home to a price that you just can't get. I want that 600,000, Denise. Like Denise, I think my home is special. I really believe that we can get 600,000. So now they're not going to testing and trying a higher price. They're truly believing the value in their home is more than the market is going to give you. Now, this is from John Prescott, who used to be our director of BOLD, amazing agent, KWU faculty. He teaches amazing classes. If you ever get to take a class with John Prescott, take it. He's awesome. Here's what John says. He goes, well, and they want 600. No, I want 600. I think I can get it. And John says, I just don't see it. That's it. I'm not seeing it. And he gives the comps back and the calculator. That works pretty well. Okay. All right. Now, let's say that you still can't get them. Like usually that's going to work in 80% of the cases, by the way. All right. Let's say you still can't get them to set a good price on the home. I'm going to give you 3 questions. Okay. And the questions come down to this. Tell me again what's important about getting your home sold. Tell me again what's important about getting your home sold. The second question is, what happens if your home doesn't sell? What happens if your home doesn't sell? And then based upon that, the third question is based upon that, what price do you feel would cause your home to sell today? And then you be quiet.
Denise, would you repeat those questions, please?
Sure. Tell me again. So now, because we got the motivation earlier, we do know their motivation. Somewhere in pricing, though, they lost their motivation, right? So now we're going to bring them back to motivation on the close. What price, or pardon me, tell me again, what's important about selling? And what happens if your home does not sell? Based on that, what price do you feel would cause your home to sell today? Based upon that, what price do you feel would cause your home to sell today? Do you see, you notice we're not really talking about any of that. we're still going back to a question of asking them, what price do you feel would cause your home to sell today? Now, here's what they'll say. Well, they're like, well, based upon all that, it's 500, but I want 600. And you ask, what would you like to do? It's your home. See, this is so important. Like, Jeff, it's your home. If you tell me it's 600 and you'd like to wait the market out, I don't know if it's going to be 6 months, a year, 3 years. This is your home. You get to do whatever you choose to do. My job is to give you the price that'll cause it to sell today. What would you like to do? It's your home. Okay, so, and then you're going to drop it, right? Like whatever they say, like that's where in this market right now, if they still said that they need to sell, but they want to try a higher price, I would take a listing for the next 90 days, unless it's just so far out of whack, you can't do anything with it. Yet, if you're sitting at like 10 or maybe even 15% overpriced in today's market, I would still take it for the next 90 days. In January, I'm not taking 10% overpriced homes because you'll have listings expiring and a lot more on the market, and it's not worth it. So I want to open this up for questions about this presentation or anything you've heard so far today. Or insights or ahas or something you really like. Or I'd never say that, Denise.
I love how you operate, how you're locking arms, and how we're strategizing together instead of objections. I mean, it's just refreshing. So I love all of
Awesome.
it. Thank you.
Awesome, Courtney. My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. So who feels that you could do this? And thank you. My goal is to make this so simple. I don't think listings have to be hard. I think listings are the easiest thing to go after because listings give you a predictable and a duplicatable business. You can take your weekends off. You can take your evenings off. You can have a life, right? You can play with your children. You can go on vacation. Listings create an amazing business when you put it in the system. Do you notice that everything though is systematized? Okay. Awesome. All right. So I want to go ahead. We've got about 30 minutes left and I'm going to wrap up. So we have like 4 more sections. Actually, we've covered a lot of it. I just wanted to see is there any questions you have before we go on? Yes,
I
Courtney.
do, as far as being systemized, and you are going to be so kind to share your letter that you send, but how is that systemized? Is it in like a Google template? Like what is your system on your pre-listing and getting that letter out, if you don't mind sharing that?
Absolutely. So we don't do a lot of customization if we're just transparent with you. We change the front page to their name, their address, and then we use a standard. The rest of it's the same. The comps are a attachment, right? And in that email, so we attach to the multiple listing comps that go out, we attach our plan or the pre-listing packet.
Okay.
So it all goes through the MLS when it's sent, and we add the attachment.
Oh, through the
Okay.
MLS?
Well, here in Arizona, every
Okay.
state might be different.
Okay.
So we pull up our comps,
Yeah.
right? So we've got the comps and you can send them the comps from multiple listing service here in our MLS. And in that body of that email, we add our pre-listing packet.
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you.
Okay. And then we send all the forms by DocuSign separately. And
Okay.
so think about this, you guys. You ever have real analytical buyers or sellers?
Yes.
So an analytical person, when you send, so you're at the house and you're asking them to sign a contract for hundreds of thousands of dollars, they need to read the contract. if we're just putting a contract under their nose or sending them a DocuSign on their phone, they can't sign it. They mentally and physically cannot sign it. So, we'll do things like this in the pre-qualification. We'll say, Courtney, are you the type of person who likes to read through all the documents so you know what you're signing? Or do you want me to share a big picture when I'm at your house? And they'll say, oh, I like to read everything. And I'll say, why don't I do this? Let me send the forms to you in advance. And that way, if you have questions on the forms, we can answer those. You've had time to read through them. And they go, oh, thank you so much. But if there's someone who has to read through them and you don't send them till you're at the house, this opens up more objections after you leave the house. So I'd rather they read through all that in advance.
Love
It's
it.
helping.
Yeah, it is. And so you literally do like the zip form. I mean, I don't know what Arizona has, but with all of their information, you don't send samples. You actually send it, and you send it via DocuSign, even though you're not having them sign it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Interesting. That's a nice way to track it. Here's the paperwork to review before our meeting. Okay, thank you.
So a lot of times you'll walk in the door, they've printed everything out and it's all filled out except for a price. Or even the price is filled out with no signature. I'll find it's one of the two. They'll print all this stuff out so they can read it and they filled it all out. Let me ask you this. If they filled it all out, are you getting that listing? It's pretty cool. The confidence level goes up pretty high when you've done that. Okay. All right. Cool stuff. All right. Now, I do think the very last thing I shared with all of you, I'm going to share my pricing formula with you. So now you've gotten the listings signed. You do want to take just a few minutes and share with them what's going to happen in the first week. Hey, we'll get pictures done. The sign will go up. We do open houses. We don't do open houses. Whatever it is, you lay out what the first week looks like for them. We talked about the pricing formula. At the end of the first week, we'll keep this pricing formula by the phone. This is how we track how buyers and agents are responding to the price that you set on your home. I don't think we'll need to make an adjustment. If we do, we'll talk about it. Or we're testing the market, we'll be able to see how buyers and agents thought about the test price we put on your home. And if we need to make adjustments, we will. So it's really pretty simple. I do have them keep that by the phone though. It tells about the importance of it. So now, and whatever's going to happen that week, and you thank them and you leave. Now, let's take a look at our PowerPoint here that we have, Paula. So now we've covered section 3. You've got servicing and marketing the listing. I don't know that you do it much different, except that a lot of you haven't had to service or market listings because they sold so fast, right? The main thing that I'm going to say here is communicate, communicate, communicate. Let's go to the next slide on this. Servicing and marketing, let's go to the next slide. Okay. Purpose, value, and fiduciary. So let's go ahead and pull this off here. The main thing, go ahead and pull our slides down. So the main thing is that we want to get the home sold. And here's what I found, and I want to give some caution here because this is one of those, I'm going to future pace you for a moment, all right? Future pacing is, let's talk about January, February, March. So January, February, March, you're going to have listings that you've taken because you're going to take a lot of listings, and you're going to have listings that actually didn't sell, all right? And now that you have a listing that doesn't sell, now, and you've taken 2 to 3 listings every month. So let's say you took 3 listings in October, you took 4 in November, and you took 5. So now you've got 12 listings you've taken and you got 6 sold. So now you're going into January with 6 listings and you take 3 more. Now you've got 9 and only one of those sold. Now you're sitting at 8. Can you see where you need to have a listing inventory management system that you didn't need this year? So I want to talk about this a little bit. You want to always look at what percentage of the listings in your market are selling. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to go back a couple of years back, like let's call it 2012. In 2012 in Arizona, in the market I was working, 60% of the listings were selling, which meant 40% of the listings were not selling. Now we were able to sell 79% of all of our listings. So we were selling 19% more listings than the multiple listing service. It also still meant that almost 1 out of 3 listings that we took didn't sell. So that every third one, we carried that listing and we had to talk to them every week for a long, long time, right? So here's a couple of the things that I noticed in markets like that. If you don't call the seller every week, they start to forget that they have their market listed. Now, I don't think this market is to be anything where 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12 was. What I do believe, though, is that markets are going to move from, a 30-day market. They're going to move to 90 to 120 days. That's probably going to happen pretty fast by January. So you want to start taking the listings for a minimum 6 months, I would say to a year. No more 3-month listings, because if it's a 90-day listing and they want to test the market 10% overpriced, you just lost your business. So start taking 6-month to 1-year listings. The second thing is that when you start having 8 listings that aren't selling, think this through. You're carrying an inventory of 8. It can be easy not to call your sellers this week because it takes work, right? And yet what I found is that when you're continually calling them, they will reduce the price. If you're not calling them, out of sight, out of mind, they don't reduce. It takes longer to get there. And then the market went down and you didn't do your job. So it's now your fault versus the market. So the number one thing you can do is call them every week. And you're really going to present 3 things. Hey, here's the new comparables. There are currently 10 on the market. They're asking an average of $280 a square foot. There are 5 pending. Those are asking an average of $240 a square foot. And as you could see, the last week, there was 2 sales and they sold for $200 a square foot. Based upon your motivation to get your home sold, what price do you feel you should get on the market to get it sold this week?
Do you have a specific day that you actually call?
We tended to call Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, Courtney, we would carry 100 listings.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
So we had a process of this. We sent the emails out on Monday. So we worked to get the feedback from agents. Now you've got showing time, right? Yet you want to put together an email, copy paste. You've had, whatever, and here's the comps. So Monday is the day we put the comps in the email that goes out. And Denise will be calling you on Tuesday and Wednesday to go over these prices. If you're able to take your call, please do that. And remember to have your pricing formula handy. So like everything is, and then we make the calls Tuesday and Wednesday. So now what we would do is we'd send a text. Hey, Courtney, did you get the email? Do you have a moment to chat? And Courtney says, yes. So I'm going to call Courtney. Stephanie doesn't respond. So I'll be calling Stephanie again tomorrow. And this becomes your job. Like you have to have it in your calendar.
Yeah. Thank you.
My pleasure. Cool. All right. So, I mean, really, that's, there's other things that you can do. I think it's going to depend on your market, though, on marketing, what's going on. Price is the number one thing that will cause a home to sell in any market. I'll give you an example. Here in Phoenix, Arizona, I took a listing, prices had dropped like a long time ago, so don't worry about the price. Yet, I'm going to give you the real numbers. We listed the home at 336. I had a new assistant entering things into MLS, and she accidentally put 136 on the listing. So in Arizona, 86% of all the sales at the time were foreclosure listings. All right, foreclosure or short sales. A regular seller, it didn't have much of a chance back then. Now, I'll tell you what, so 336, I knew that home was probably going to take 6 months to sell. We accidentally put 136 on the price. I had 5 offers when I had 2 listing appointments. So I went out, did my listing appointments, came back, and my assistant said, Denise, you got 5 offers on this property. I'm like, it's great. Why are they for 136,000? Oh, we made a mistake. Here's the point I'd like to make, though. There is a price that will cause every single home to sell today in every market. Okay. All right. I love it. I love it. Be in the business long enough, you make enough mistakes. Trust me, I learned more from the mistakes than I did the other. Now, let's go to offers and negotiation. And I tell you what, we have some slides for this. You can look on page 95, on 95. So best practices for presenting the offer, present every single offer. Now, if they say, Kara, I don't want you to present anything under 550, then I'm going to call Kara and I'm going to push back and I'm going to say, Kara, we don't have to talk a lot about it. Arizona state law requires that I present every offer to you. Okay. Now, with offers, you have to check your mindset. Your mindset in presenting offers is super important. You have to be Switzerland. You have to be neutral. Have no judgment on the offer. None whatsoever. So if you show up, let's say, we listed it at 510. The offer comes in at 480. All right. And they said, don't you bring me anything under 5. We have to be Switzerland. All right. So we have to say, hey, Stephanie, I'm so excited. We got an offer. It's not exactly what we're offering, yet it's an offer. Everything is like you're excited. We got an offer and you present it. Now, this is where you use your motivation that you got on the listing presentation in the pre-qual. So I know that the price is 480. Now, Stephanie, based upon your desire to be in Phoenix in the next 60 days, we've got 3 weeks left to get this home sold. Did you want to go ahead and accept the offer? And here's the deal. I ask them with a smile to accept every offer that's presented. Every offer that's presented, you ask them to accept it. And they go, well, Denise, I told you I wouldn't take anything over 510. I know, and we don't have any offers at that. We have this one. What would you like to do? We've tested the market at 510 and it hasn't brought us any offers at it. What would you like to do? Now, here's a little tip. If they won't accept the offer or they won't counter offer, I never respond to that offer that day. I'll say this. I'll say, Courtney, you tell me that you don't want to, like, Denise, I don't even want to accept this offer. I don't want to do anything. So I don't want to counter. I don't want to accept. Let's role play this for a moment. Okay. So Courtney, we got the offer of 480. Did you want to go ahead and accept this offer?
You know, Denise, I need more than that. 480. So what does that net me?
Yeah, it would net you 380 in your pocket.
Yeah, that's disappointing, Denise. You know, I don't have to sell. I could just rent it.
So would you consider countering the offer, Courtney?
Well, do you think that would work?
I don't know. I mean, I know they'll take it for 480. That's what I know for sure.
Hmm.
Tell
Yeah.
me you don't want to, tell me, just turn it down. We'll wait for something else.
No, you know what? I let's just wait. Let's see what happens. I mean, I think the comps show, and my house is worth it. I think it's worth the price.
Courtney, I hear what you're saying. Let me do this. I'm going to send new comps over to you, and I'm actually not going to respond to this offer tonight. I want you to look at that, and I'll call you back in the morning. And if you still want to turn it down, I'm all on board with that. Let's see how you feel in the morning, okay?
Okay. I think that, yeah, I think that's good.
If they won't counter or they want to turn it down, I always tell them, let's come back in the morning. And if you still feel that way, I'm going to totally honor that. More than half the time, they've changed their tune.
Yeah, time helps everything, right?
Time helps. Time and sleep helps everything.
It does. New perspective.
Yep. Okay. Now, all right. So then we always refer back to their price, or pardon me, their motivation and the time. You know, so let's say that she still said, nope, turn it down. And I'd say, now, Courtney, may I push back for a moment because that's what you paid me to do. And they go, all right. So you said that you need to have this sold in 3 weeks. And you need to be in Phoenix. Has something changed that I'm unaware of? So we're going to go back to their motivation, and I always give them the opportunity. Has something changed? And they'll tell you no. I mean, what if this is the best offer we ever get? Because we've had it on the market 14 days, and this is the best offer we've received. What would you like to do? So really, it goes back to what's important about getting your home sold, what happens if it doesn't sell, and what would you like to do? You see how it all goes back to those 3 questions? Awesome. Okay. All right, and that's really all I have to say on offers and negotiations. Really, to tie it up, first thing, always ask them, like, present it in a positive note, ask them to sign it and accept it, and go back to their motivation if they won't. And sleep on it if if you don't like the answer. If I don't like the answer, I ask them all to sleep on it. Jeff, would you have anything else to add to this? You've been doing this a long time.
No, I mean, I think that conversation is great. I also think that ability to let people go have time to think is really good. And more so, I think anytime that we have more than one person involved, I'm not sure exactly how you say that today, but if we have multiple people involved in the decision making, one person has a different motivation typically than the other.
Yes.
And if I can allow the motivated person to talk to the person who's holding real strong on the price.
I like that. That is a really big point. I hadn't thought about that
They've got
necessarily that way.
they've got completely different leverage than I do in that conversation. They can be like, I know you want to get the price for the house. I want to be where my grandchildren are, and we're going there. I'll go there without you. I don't really care. Or you can come. Either way, you can stay in the house. You can be the renter. Right? I mean, I think that you've got these dialogues inside of relationships that are far beyond us being kind of on the outside of that.
Yeah. That is such a powerful point. Did all of you just think about your relationship? I know I did. I just got coached by Jeff. That is so powerful. Yeah, I'll tell you, in my relationship, I'm the one who wants to hold out for top dollar. And my husband's the one who's like, I hear you. So what you're saying is you'd rather die in this house than move to Phoenix. No. Yeah, I think that was a pretty powerful point. All right, now, so one thing I'd like to share right here, and we've talked a little bit about it, yet now you've gotten it under contract. And I think in a market like this is an important piece, is what I call future pacing. So now that you have the home under contract, future pacing is where, like, I gave you an example of future pacing is when I shared what January, February, March could look like when you're carrying a large inventory as an agent. So now you want to, future pace what it could look like for the seller during this transaction. Because the transaction today is very different than a transaction a year ago. The sellers, so buyers are going to be asking for a lot of repairs. And they're going to be expecting for you to make those repairs. And your seller's going to say, well, Denise, I'm not going to make any repairs at that price. And so what we want to do is we don't want to, once we want to get it signed, and now we get to that hurdle, we want a future pace that there could be challenges that are still to come up that we have to overcome. So, in today's market, I'll give you an example, a year ago, let's say that you had the refrigerator ice maker line broke and the house was flooded 2 inches deep. And the buyer would say, oh, that's okay. We can fix little minor plumbing repairs. And today the same thing happens and you would think that the whole house was going to fall down. So based upon where our market is going, it's important you understand that buyers are going to be asking for repairs. Let's hope it's not a lot. Now, so your future pacing and the things that challenges might come up. Appraisals. We've priced the home well for today. As you could see, the market was going down week after week after week. Hopefully we've sold it fast enough in this changing market that appraisal won't be an issue. So see, condition and appraisal are the two big things that could come up in today's market. And so what we want to do is we do want to talk about them. Now, then I'll say, here's the good news. Kara, it's your home. It's still your home, even though we've got it under contract. When an issue arises, I want you to remember you're always going to have 3 options. You can say yes, you can say no, or we can negotiate something in between. It's your home. So you always have 3 options. You can say yes, you can say no, or we can negotiate something in between. And I think it's important to let sellers know this is their home. They're still in control and they always have options. So we future paced of what's going to happen. Now, let's say it's 2 weeks later and the appraisal issue comes up and you say, hey, Sarah, it's Denise. Do you remember when I said we might have some challenges about the appraisal? And Sarah goes, yes. Well, that did show up. And the good news is that it's still your home and you've got options. All right. So let's take a look at your options. You can say yes, you can say no, or you can negotiate something in between. Well, what will the buyer do? Well, remember, they have options too. They can say yes, they can say no, or they can negotiate something in between. Okay. And that's really where we're going. It's all about future pacing, and then giving them encouragement. The good news is that homes still sell. They just don't, it's just not the seamless transaction like it was a year ago. And really, that's what you're paying me for, is to make it as easy as possible and find solutions. And now you can future pace them. And once we close, you'll be like my other sellers who'll say, Denise, I'm so glad we sold. It may not feel like it today. I just sold a house for a very good friend of mine. Oh, well, actually, my husband sold the house. And we had sold him this condo 3 years ago. Her renter moved out and she called and she says, I don't know what to do. Should we try to re-rent the house or sell it? And I asked her about our long-term goals and she goes, well, we're in lending. I feel like the markets. I said, if based upon what you're telling me, it sounds like selling now is going to be the best thing for you. They had to come down about 10%. So they wanted like 320. They ended up taking like 290 for the property. And she closed 45 days ago. And we were talking on the phone. I said, Kelly, how do you feel about selling that condo? She goes, oh, I'm so glad you made me sell. I see that it's still for rent and they keep dropping the price. I can't imagine if we were still in that house and having to make that mortgage payment. So we talk about the future. All right. And then the very last thing, of course, we put them into our database and we follow up with them. There's lots of classes on that. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like to look back in your notes. I'd like you to look back in your notes and I'd like you to highlight or circle the 2 or 3 things that you're going to implement that will drive your listing business forward the most. What are the 2 or 3 things that you're going to implement right away that would drive you to a listing business?
Mhm.
And Sarah, I'd love to hear, you're in the room. What will you be teaching to help your agents become listing agents as well? Okay, so let's take a moment and take these notes and then we'll get ahas. And Paula, I have a slide for KWU eval, if you could pull that up for everyone as well. I think it's my last or second to last slide. We'll put this slide back up. We are going to ask, I am working towards my master faculty at KWU to become a master faculty. So I'll put that slide back up and maybe we can put it in the chat as well, the kwueval.com. So let's get some takeaways from you. What value was this class for you today? What are you going to implement into your business?
Denise, I can jump in on this. I'm going to type up that list that you put in the chat of different sources that people can lead generate from. I think having that would be an easy one just to pass on to clients or my agents. Those are my clients, where they can find clients. Yeah, you had so many good things. May I share a few more things also, please?
Absolutely.
When they're doing their presentations, the minutes that you broke down, how they'll spend more time on the motivation, 10 to 15 minutes, 5 minutes for market stats, and about 5 minutes for closing per listing. And the calculator, that was just so spot on, and it added humor and it kind of lightens things. And thank you. It was like being in bold with you again. I very much appreciated this.
My pleasure. I love that. I love that. These are great. What else?
There's just a lot. I love the touching in them again 3 times to create that rapport, sending the pre-listing, the comps ahead of time. I love, again, the yes, no, or negotiate. And I really love locking the arms and having that mindset of it's not us against them, it's coming from contribution and it's us supporting them.
Yes, absolutely. I love those takeaways. These are awesome. What else?
I'm going back to the beginning with the lead generation and just focusing on the active and passive lead generating and growing that database for myself so that everything else can fall into place.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it really is. If we have no leads, none of this, there's no one to share this with, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love this. How about you, Kara?
I have a list of 5 that I think are like the big 5 for me, other than just doing all the notes. But I think the DTD2 script that you shared with me for reaching out to my team's database is going to be huge, just to loop Elisa back into the conversation without having Elisa in the conversation at all. And on the heels of that, becoming the I know you're true for me thought for sellers through small bites of information leading up to that listing appointment.
Yeah.
Doing the prequal myself or doing a follow-up prequal, just affirming whatever prequal conversation has already been had. And a listing management system, I kind of ran into that in the last 3 weeks or so, like, oh, whoa, they're not all
Yeah.
gone. What's happening? And then I really love just keeping in mind the linking arms with the seller during the presentation and holding motivation at the center.
Yeah. And the good news is, Kara, for that, it sounds like you guys these are minor nuances for you, really. So it's not because you're on a team with big systems and models. It's not like you're changing everything. You're going to make better what you already have.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome job. Who else? Who else? Who did we miss here? All right, so let's see. Kara, tips for lead generation in closing. Did we do it? Thumbs up?
100%. Yes.
Awesome. Stephanie is, let's see, how to manage my listings, follow up after closing. I don't know that we covered what you wanted.
Well, it's in the material in the back, so I'm going to go over it anyway.
Awesome. Perfect. Perfect. I love it. Karen, I don't know if Karen's still on there listening. Scripts, listings, future pacing, buyers are saying prices are coming down. Like, how do we handle a lot of scripting with the sellers? I'm not sure if she's available. And Courtney, conversations and pricing. Did we cover that? Awesome. Jeff, seller conversations. Did we handle that for you, sir?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Awesome. And Sarah was after lead generation and conversations. So I think she already shared that she covered that.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, we covered a lot in a 3-hour period. So, I work to bring it down to the most important stuff that you'll need right now to brush your skills on. And, what you might do for those of you who picked 3 to 5 things, maybe put on your calendar, this week, I'm going to focus on the first one. The second week, I'm going to focus on the second. And after 5 weeks, you can have all these implemented, because for a lot of you, they're not big changes. They're little nuances. So focus on one a week. And then next week, when it pops up in your calendar, you'll be like, oh yeah, I was going to do the pre-qual. Let me go get some of those printed. And then the week after, you have the next thing. And so literally by Thanksgiving, you'll have everything implemented. All right, you guys, it has been a pleasure. Please do my kwueval.com. If you wonder if there's a difference between a 4 and a 5, it's 20%. So yes, if you feel like it's a 4, do it. If you really like me, put a 5. I need 300, I think it's 300 4.5 stars or above to be approved as a KW to be able to go to the audition. So I am working towards that. If you guys would do that, that's awesome. I would love it if you think this is valuable and would like to come to some of our other courses. I believe next month, I don't even know what next month is. I've got a couple more coming up this year and continuing into next year. I just love these classes. There's so much. So I'll stay on the line to answer any questions. You guys are awesome. Have an amazing day and week. Go get your listings and look for the email by Thursday morning at the latest, because we'll send you the recording and I'll send you all the extra documents I talked about as well.
Hey, Denise.
Have a great day, you guys, and I'll stay here for any questions.
Denise,
Thank
on the
you so
eval,
much.
on the eval, where do we find KWU course evaluations? Do we drop down our own region or do we drop down your region?
You can do your own region.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, you can do your own region, and then it's called Win with Sellers, and the instructor name is Denise Meyer.
Right, got it. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Bye.
So on the next meeting that we have, I believe is a day that I'm not going to be able to be there. Is this being recorded? And if so, where can I find it?
Yeah, so we'll send you. So Stephanie, did you not receive I saw your email and then I saw you on, so I didn't follow up. Do we have the correct email for you?
Well, so when she sent me the Zoom link, it came to the right email, but I'm not getting any of those emails prior with that. So I'm having to reach out to you guys to get that link, and I'm checking
Okay.
spam. So I'm just not sure what is going on.
When did you get the email? Just so I can.
I got the email this morning at 6:18 this morning for the pre-work of what to bring to class and what to print off. So that was the only email I received. And then when I went to register, I never got a confirmation email.
Okay, let me, I'm gonna dig into that for you. And I'll find out if it almost sounds like that was on my side. I don't think it has anything to do with you.
Okay,
Okay, yeah, so I apologize for that.
okay.
Yeah.
So then I guess
So,
email will get sent out with the recording.
yeah, so we have to download, and it takes a while. And then we'll send you all those supporting documents that we talked about. I'll send you the email and I'll send you everything in that. Okay.
Okay,
Good stuff.
Great.
Okay. Yeah, I apologize. It sounds like something on my end.
okay, we'll get it figured out.
We'll get it figured out. And I appreciate the feedback, or else I can't make it better. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, good.
thank
All
you for
right. Well,
today.
my pleasure. I hope you got what you were looking for out of it.
Yes, take care.
Good. My pleasure. Bye.
Bye.
And let's move Karen to the, we can.
I put her
There
in.
we go. There we go. All right, Paula, how do we do today?
I'm sorry for everything. For coming in late and I lost internet connection a while ago.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
I don't know. Suddenly, I don't have internet connection, so I need to connect with my parents' Wi-Fi.
Okay, okay. All right, very good. How'd you think the class went today?
It was an amazing class.
Good.
You're such a fun person to listen to.
Oh, good, good. I hope there was enough interaction. Okay. And oh man, so we didn't hit record, did we?
It's recording on my end,
Oh,
but I
good.
don't
Okay.
know if I'm gonna get the first part of the class, the one before I lost my internet connection.
Got it. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. I think I have an old recording I can send out when I did the class a couple months back. So if we have to, we'll send that, because it's still the class. But yeah, so we always want to figure out how to record. So, okay, well, we'll figure that out. All righty. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Denise.
All right, Paula, have a great day.
You
So
too.
if you take what you do have that's recorded, and will you send that to Alyssa?
Okay.
Okay, because that may have to download, like, I don't know how long it'll take if you recorded it to the cloud or if you did to your computer.
I think it
If
did
it's-
on my computer, not to the cloud.
Okay, so then what you'll have to do is you'll have to download it. It will take a couple hours. So like when you wake up tomorrow, you might like start it downloading and then you can send it. So I always tell them it's going to take a couple of days because it does a 3-hour class is a long time to download. And then what we can do is I'll see if I can find the old recording we can send along with it and just say, hey, part of it didn't record. Here's another class. You can receive other value. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, Miss Paula, have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.